The night after the ritual felt heavier than the one before. Baze Baptiste, an African-American man carrying the weight of a bloodline forged by gods, could still feel the ancestor's voice echoing in his bones. He could still sense the wound in the world, and somewhere in the dark he could still hear the Nameless One breathing. But now he knew the truth. His bloodline wasn't cursed. It was chosen, shaped for a war older than memory, and that truth terrified him. Gray Wolf stood across from him in the clearing, wrapped in his worn Navajo blanket. The judge stood beside him, tall, silent, golden-eyed, radiating the cold authority of something that had passed judgment on worlds. Gray Wolf spoke first. Your name is your weapon, but a weapon is useless if you don't know how to wield it. The judge added, and a weapon you cannot control will destroy you before your enemy touches you. Baze swallowed. So what do I do? Gray Wolf stepped forward. You learn to call your name. The judge stepped forward too. And you learn to survive the consequences. Gray Wolf drew a circle in the dirt. Stand inside. Baze stepped in. The judge raised a hand, and golden chains of light sealed the perimeter. Baze frowned. What's this for? The judge answered, containment. Gray Wolf added, and protection. Baze's voice tightened. Protection from what? Gray Wolf's eyes glowed faintly blue. From yourself, the judge nodded. And from what your name will awaken. Baze took a breath. How do I start? Gray Wolf touched his forehead. Say your name, not with your mouth, with your spirit. The judge leaned in. Say it with the part of you the Nameless One fears. Baze closed his eyes, reached inward. He felt the iron spirit, heavy, unbreakable. He felt the storm sight, electric, restless. He felt the ancestors standing behind him. He whispered, Obasi. The ground trembled. The air cracked. The golden chains snapped tight. Gray Wolf stepped back. The judge braced himself. That, Gray Wolf said, was the door opening. The judge added, now open it wider. Baze inhaled sharply. This time he called it Obasi. The world erupted. Wind blasted outward. The earth split beneath him. Lightning tore across a clear sky. The judge anchored the circle with golden chains. Gray Wolf shouted, control it. But the power surged like a river breaking free. Baze felt every ancestor, every battle, every wound, every victory. He felt the Orishas watching. He felt the Nameless One turn toward him. He felt himself slipping. The judge thundered, focus, O Baze Baptiste. Gray Wolf chanted in Navajo, weaving blue flame into the storm. The judge slammed his hand into the ground, chains wrapping Baze's arms, not to restrain, but to steady. Your name is not a shout, the judge said. It is a verdict. Gray Wolf added, speak it like truth, not fear. Baze centered himself, whispered, Obasi. The storm collapsed into silence. Hours passed. Baze called his name again and again. Sometimes the storm broke free. Sometimes the chains snapped. But each time he grew stronger. Finally, Gray Wolf stepped back. Now we test it. The judge raised a hand. A crippled materialized, bound, snarling, dripping shadow. Baze stumbled. What, why? The judge said. This one is already condemned. Gray Wolf added, but its hunger is real. The crippled lunged. Baze shouted, Obasi. The storm erupted, controlled, focused. The crippled froze mid-air. Again, the judge said. Baze whispered, Obasi. The creature shattered into dust. Gray Wolf smiled. You are learning. The judge stepped forward. But you are not ready. Baze wiped sweat from his brow. What else do I need? The judge's eyes glowed brighter. You must learn the second half of your name. Baze blinked. There's a second half? Gray Wolf nodded. Every true name has two sides. The judge finished. The name you speak and the name that speaks back. A chill crawled up Baze's spine. What does that mean? Gray Wolf answered softly. It means your name is alive, the judge added, and it has been waiting for you. Before Baze could respond, the wind shifted. The judge turned sharply. Gray Wolf stiffened. Baze felt a presence pressing against the clearing. A hunger. A watching. The nameless one, Gray Wolf whispered. It heard you. The judge's voice dropped low. It knows your name now. Baze swallowed. So what do we do? The judge stepped forward, golden light burning around him. We prepare for the night it comes, Gray Wolf added, and we pray your name is strong enough to answer. The wind howled, the shadows twisted, and somewhere in the darkness, the nameless one whispered Baze's name for the first time. The forest was too quiet, not peaceful, not calm. Quiet in the way a predator is quiet, waiting, calculating, listening. Baze Baptist felt it before he heard anything. A pressure behind the ribs, a weight in the air, a presence brushing the edges of the world like a fingertip dragging across glass. The nameless one was near. Gray Wolf stood beside him, wrapped in his worn Navajo blanket, eyes narrowed toward the tree line. The judge stood on the other side, tall, golden-eyed, radiating the cold, ancient authority of something that had judged civilizations and buried them. Gray Wolf spoke first. Tonight is different. The judge's voice was low, controlled. Tonight it listens. Baze swallowed. Listens to what? Gray Wolf didn't look at him. To you? The judge stepped forward, golden light rippling across his skin. You learned to speak your name. Now you must learn to hear it. Baze frowned. I don't understand. Gray Wolf turned to him, expression grave. Every true name has two halves, the part you speak and the part that speaks back. A chill crawled up Baze's spine. What does that mean? The judge answered, It means your name is alive, and tonight it will answer you. The wind shifted, the trees bent, the shadows thickened. Something was coming. Gray Wolf knelt and drew a new circle in the dirt, larger, deeper, carved with symbols Baze didn't recognize. This is not a containment circle, he said. This is an echo chamber. The judge added, Step inside, and do not leave it until your name answers. Baze hesitated. What happens if I step out? The judge's golden eyes sharpened. You won't. That wasn't reassurance. It was a warning. Baze stepped into the circle. The air tightened around him. The world dimmed, the forest fell away, he was alone. He closed his eyes and reached inward. He felt the iron spirit, heavy, unbreakable. He felt the storm sight, electric, restless. He felt the ancestors behind him like a wall of thunder. He whispered, Obasi. The ground trembled. He said it again, Obasi. The air cracked. He said it a third time, Obasi. The world split open. He was no longer in the forest. He stood in a place that felt like a memory, but wrong, twisted, stretched, painted with someone else's hand. His childhood home stood before him, but the windows were dark. The door opened, and something breathed inside. A voice whispered behind him, soft, familiar, wrong. "Obasi," he turned. His mother stood there, except she wasn't breathing, and her eyes were black. Baze staggered back. "No, this isn't real." The judge's voice echoed faintly from somewhere far away. "It is not real, but it is true." Gray Wolf's voice followed. "The Nameless One cannot touch you, but it can touch your fear." The false mother stepped closer. "You were never chosen," she whispered. "You were abandoned." Baze clenched his fists. "You're not her." The Shadow Mother smiled. "But I know what you fear." The world shook. The air thickened. The Shadow Mother dissolved into smoke, and from the darkness something vast leaned forward, unseen but undeniable. A voice like cracking stone whispered, "Obasi." Baze froze. That wasn't him. That wasn't Gray Wolf. That wasn't the judge. That was his name, speaking back. The judge's voice thundered from the void. "Do not run from it," Gray Wolf shouted. "Answer it." Baze's heart pounded. He whispered, "Obasi." The voice answered, "Obasi." He said it louder. "Obasi," the voice replied. "Obasi." The world exploded in light. Baze fell to his knees as the storm collapsed into a single point of blinding clarity. You saw flashes, a battlefield older than history, a war between beings whose names shaped reality, a bloodline forged not by curse but by covenant, a promise made by the first Obasi, a promise the Nameless One had never forgiven. And then he saw it, the second half of his name, a word he didn't understand, a word that felt like fire and iron and judgment, a word not meant for human tongues. He whispered, trembling, What is that?" The judge stepped into view as the vision faded. "That is the part of your name that only awakens when the world is in danger," Gray Wolf added softly, "and the world is in danger now." The forest snapped back into place. Baze gasped, collapsing to his hands. Gray Wolf knelt beside him. "You heard it. You survived it." The judge stood tall, golden eyes burning. "But now the Nameless One knows the truth." Baze looked up, breath shaking. "What truth?" The judge answered, "That you are no longer a child of fear." Gray Wolf finished, "You are a child of verdict." The wind howled. The shadows twisted. And from somewhere deep in the forest, a voice whispered Baze's name again, not mocking, not taunting, calling. Gray Wolf stood, eyes narrowing. "It's coming." The judge's voice was cold steel. "Then we prepare." Baze rose slowly, the echo of his name still vibrating in his bones. "What happens now?" The judge turned toward the darkness. "Now, Obasi Baptiste, the Nameless One hunts you," Gray Wolf added. "And you hunt it." The wind died. The forest held its breath, and the episode ends on the sound of the Nameless One whispering the second half of Baze's name, too faint to understand, but powerful enough to shake the trees.
The night didn't fall. It collapsed. One moment the forest was dim and restless, the moon hanging low behind drifting clouds. The next, the sky folded inward like someone had blown out the stars. The moon vanished. The air thickened, and the world dimmed into a darkness that felt intentional. Baze Baptiste felt it before he understood it. A pressure behind the ribs. A coldness that wasn't temperature, but a tension. Something ancient was looking at him. Gray Wolf stiffened beside him, wrapped in his worn Navajo blanket. "The veil is thinning," he whispered. The judge's golden eyes brightened, burning like twin suns in the dark. "It is not thinning," he said. "It is being torn." A low vibration rolled through the trees, not sound, but hunger. The Nameless One was coming. Baze swallowed hard. "What do I do?" Gray Wolf didn't look at him. "You stand your ground," the judge added, "and you pray your name remembers you." The wind died. The forest held its breath, and the darkness moved. Not like a shadow, not like a creature. Like a decision? The Nameless One didn't step out of the dark. It was the dark, a shape without shape, a void wearing the suggestion of a form, a presence that bent the world around it like heat over asphalt. The trees bowed. The ground trembled. Even the air seemed to recoil. Baze felt his knees weaken. His breath caught. His spirit recoiled instinctively. Gray Wolf grabbed his arm. "Do not kneel. That is what it wants." The judge stepped forward, golden chains spiraling around his arms. "Obasi Baptis," he said. "Call your name." Baze tried. Nothing came out. The Nameless One leaned closer, a tide of shadow rolling toward him, and then it spoke. Not in words, not in sound. In him, Obasi. The whisper hit him like a hand around the throat. It wasn't calling him. It was claiming him. Gray Wolf shouted, "It's not speaking your name, it's stealing it." The judge slammed his hand into the ground, golden chains erupting outward. "Call your name before it takes it." Baze forced breath into his lungs, forced his spirit to steady. He whispered, "Obasi." The Nameless One whispered back, "Obasi." Mocking, mirroring, taking. Baze clenched his fists. "No, that's mine." He inhaled sharply and called it Obasi. The ground cracked. Lightning tore across a moonless sky. The forest exploded with wind. The Nameless One recoiled, not in fear, but in interest. It leaned closer and whispered the second half of his name, a word Baze had never spoken, a word he barely understood, a word that hit him like a hammer made of memory and destiny. His knees buckled. Gray Wolf caught him. "Stay with me." The judge roared, "Do not answer that word. Not yet." But the Nameless One wasn't done. It whispered the word again, deeper, louder, heavier. Baze felt his spirit tremble, his bones vibrate, his vision blur. He felt himself slipping toward it, not physically, but spiritually, like gravity pulling him toward a black star. Gray Wolf shouted, "Baze, listen to me. That word is not yours yet." The judge thundered, "Obasi, Baptis, speak your half." Baze forced his eyes open. The Nameless One towered over him, a void wearing the suggestion of a face. He whispered, "Obasi." The storm erupted again, controlled, focused, burning through the darkness. The Nameless One paused. For the first time, it hesitated. The judge stepped forward, golden chains blazing. "You cannot take him," he said. "He is named." The Nameless One shifted, a ripple of shadow, a silent snarl. Gray Wolf raised blue flame in both hands, and he is not alone. The Nameless One didn't retreat, but it stopped advancing. It studied Baze not as prey, but as a problem. Then, slowly, deliberately, it whispered the second half of his name one last time. A promise, a threat, a prophecy. And the darkness folded in on itself. The Nameless One vanished. The stars returned. The moon flickered back into existence. The forest exhaled. Baze collapsed to his knees, shaking. Grey Wolf knelt beside him. You faced it, and you lived. The judge stood over him, expression unreadable. But it will return. Baze looked up, breath ragged. What does it want? The judge answered. It wants what all nameless things want. Grey Wolf finished. A name? Baze swallowed. And it wants mine. The judge nodded once. And it will come for it again. The wind rustled through the trees, soft, almost gentle. But Baze heard it. A whisper. A promise. The Nameless One was not done. Not even close.
The night after the Nameless One vanished was not a night at all. It was a pause, a held breath, a silence waiting to break. Baze Baptiste stood in the clearing with Grey Wolf and the judge, trying to steady the echo of his name still vibrating in his bones. The forest felt wrong, too still, too watchful, too aware. Grey Wolf whispered, "It's not gone. It's circling." The judge nodded once. "It is choosing its angle of attack." Baze opened his mouth to speak, and the world hit him. A force, like a hammer made of shadow, slammed into his chest. He flew backward, crashing into the dirt so hard the breath left his lungs. Before he could rise, something cold wrapped around his wrists, then his ankles, then his throat. Dark spirits, thin skeletal silhouettes made of smoke and hunger, pinned him to the ground. Baze gasped, "Grey Wolf," but the shadows tightened, choking the word off. The forest dimmed, the air froze, and the Nameless One stepped forward. Not fully, not physically, but enough. A shape of darkness, wearing the suggestion of a face. A void that bent the world around it. The presence that made the trees bow and the earth tremble. It leaned over Baze, but it didn't speak to him. It spoke past him. Grey Wolf. The voice was a whisper made of broken stone and old hunger. Grey Wolf's entire body went rigid. The Nameless One continued, "I came for you." Baze's eyes widened. Grey Wolf didn't move. Grey Wolf's jaw clenched. His eyes glowed faintly blue. "I know what you were," he said quietly. "And what you became?" The Nameless One's form rippled a silent snarl. The judge stepped forward, golden light erupting around him. "Entity," the judge commanded, voice echoing like thunder, "you will address me." The Nameless One turned, slowly, deliberately. The shadows around it thickened, swirling like a storm preparing to strike. The judge's golden eyes burned brighter. "You trespass on named ground." The Nameless One leaned toward him, its presence pressing against reality like a hand against thin glass. "Judge," the word dripped with contempt. "You cannot bind what has no name." The judge slammed the gavel into the earth. Golden chains erupted upward, spiraling toward the entity. The Nameless One flicked a hand of shadow. The chains shattered. The judge staggered back, shocked. Grey Wolf moved. The lightning arrow formed instantly, humming, alive, furious. "Let him go," Grey Wolf said. The Nameless One tilted its head. "You dare?" Grey Wolf's voice was steady. "I have always dared." The Nameless One raised a hand. The dark spirits constricting Baze tightened, dragging him deeper into the dirt. Baze choked, vision blurring. Grey Wolf's eyes flared. He released the arrow. The lightning shot across the clearing like a spear of pure sky. It struck the spirits holding Baze, exploding them into ash and smoke. Baze gasped as air rushed back into his lungs. The Nameless One recoiled, not in pain, but in irritation. Grey Wolf drew another arrow. The judge raised his gavel again. Baze forced himself to his feet, still shaking. The Nameless One looked at all three of them. Then it spoke, not loud, not angry, but with a certainty that froze the blood. "This is not your fight, O Baze." Baze's heart stopped. The Nameless One pointed at Grey Wolf. "It is his." The judge stepped between them. Grey Wolf didn't flinch. He whispered, "I know. No, this war belongs to all of us." The Nameless One's shadow expanded, swallowing the edges of the clearing. "Then all of you will fall." The ground cracked. The trees bent. The sky flickered. And the Nameless One vanished, not retreating, but repositioning. The darkness lifted. The spirits dissolved. The forest exhaled. Baze collapsed to one knee, shaking. Grey Wolf lowered his bow, breathing hard. The judge steadied himself, golden light flickering. Baze looked up at them both. "What? What was that? Why did it say it came for you?" Grey Wolf didn't answer. Not immediately. He stared into the darkness where the Nameless One had stood. Then he whispered, "Because long before it hunted you."
I hunted it.
The judge closed his eyes, and now it remembers. Baze swallowed hard. "So what happens now?" Grey Wolf finally turned to him. "Now," he said, "we prepare for the night. It comes back." The judge added, "And next time, it will not come alone." The wind rustled through the trees, soft, almost gentle. But Baze heard it, a whisper, a promise. The Nameless One was not done, not even close.